What is good, Lottery Stocks fam? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, we got some stuff to talk about, a little bit of due diligence as to a timeline when GameStop could possibly squeeze and where I'm putting my money at. And it's kind of now. We missed a period that we kind of failed to pay attention to, but to be honest, we didn't really have the data for it. I want you to look at June 12th FTD data for GameStop. This is GMEU, actually. This is the ETF, the double daily leveraged ETF for GameStop, with this FTD spike in the chart going out through the roof. Same thing with GameStop, out through the roof. Now, if we look at the price action on GameStop, the 12th of June was also the bottom of the convertible bond offering right here, Thursday, June 12th. This is the convertible bond offering period. We bottomed out right around $21.50, which is extremely low for the stock. I'm going to talk about what catalysts need to happen and why we didn't see coverage right here. Okay, this is where things get interesting as to why we did not see coverage. Okay, there is two C35 periods where they can kick the can down the road. Now, that comes out to 70 days. 70 days prior to June 12th is when Ryan Cohen and Larry Chang purchased shares in GameStop. Now, you're going to want to hang along for this. Why did we not see coverage on this date and instead we saw a bottom? Well, very simple. During this time period, the timeline of events that we are seeing, we saw massive amounts of FTDs on GMEU and GME. But the interesting thing is it's normal on GME because of the convertible bond offering and how much shorting to the degree and fails to deliver that we saw. I wouldn't say normal, but the delta hedging that has to happen during the convertible bond offering period, it's somewhat normal. Again, not to the degree we've seen because there was almost 1.6 million FTDs on GameStop. But GMEU is where it gets interesting, right? Because we saw 1.5 million over here as well. Now, what's so interesting about this is June 12th, there was only 600,000 shares trading on this. So surface value, naked shorting has happened right in front of our eyes. But if you dig deeper, what happened on June 13th, the settlement date of FTDs to come into effect, because there's that 1 day period. Now, they sold shares that didn't exist, but on June 13th, 770,000 shares were added to GMEU's float. This is interesting because what had happened here is this is a reset by the market makers and short sellers through ETF exemption loopholes, ETF creation. They create shares and then they deliver like-kind securities, so it does not have an effect on GameStop's price action. Well, lottery stocks, that is all good and all. That's a pain in the ass. When should we see something from here? Well, it gets a little bit complicated. But if you look from base value, you would see that a C35 period would bring us right to July 17th from June 12th. So you have this period of possible chop trading where we should have SQOs higher. Now, taking a step back from all of this, this is where I have stated that we are trading at this blue circle, lining up with this blue circle right here, meaning GameStop would be seeing something like this, which we already kind of started to see the beginning of it, right? But this would actually squeeze us into late July. Now, if we were to see a double period, which I don't think is going to happen, and I'll explain why, that would come out to August 21st at maximum as well. And also, there's another quarterly ETF rebalancing in September, but this would have to do more so with XRT. And GameStop also has their earnings September. Ultimately, we're seeing insiders buy. We are seeing more volatility come into the option chain, more call premium being purchased, more dark pool orders for buys being purchased on GameStop. A long story short, we move on. They abused the system. They created shares. They utilized this ETF loophole. What is happening next? So June 12th was the last legal day. Shorts could delay GME/GMEU shares using ETF exemptions, Rule 204, C35 times 2. Synthetic share patch on June 13th. Shorts were created, shares were created overnight on GMEU, which we talked about, to pretend they could settle, a stall tactic to avoid buy-ins. Now, synthetic delay would end July 4th, according to AI. The ETF patch runs out here. They can't use synthetic coverage anymore, and the FTD pressure returns. Now, there's a likely force covering window between July 4th and 18th, which also just lines up with what we said, July 17th being that end of the grace period. This is interesting, okay? This goes down the line. Well, a lot of stocks is out. What we're going to see. Well, during this 2-week period, shorts may be forced to cover on the open market if they can't locate real shares. However, how can they delay this? How can we not see a squeeze here? Well, using synthetic ETF creations on GMEU. If somehow they decide that they want to or can issue more shares, which can outpace the demand, which I'm going to explain why this is all broken and good for us in 1 second. Okay, then they can do so. Run trades through dark pools. They can do that. Push gamma traps via options, which they've done. You've seen the price pinning and all of the action with $120 puts, $125 puts, right? These market makers pin the options price. They hide shorts in swaps or TRS instruments, total return swaps. However, this is all off the table and crushed right now because of Japanese 10-year rising and swaps tied to GameStop's price action. On top of that, I want to state, separate from all of that, if we get any sort of catalyst like a buyback or insider action or some sort of news on GameStop, we are going to rip heads off. Okay, I'll put that out there right now. But let's talk about Japan, JPY. This is at 1.529, and we've been talking about it in the videos. A lot of people are lagging behind on this. I'll give you a very brief breakdown. Big institutions borrow cheap in yen. Okay, they use that to buy higher yielding assets in US equities, options, or swaps. It is a highly leveraged global risk on trade, often hidden through total return swaps. When Japanese 10-year yield rise, these rates are expected to tighten. Now, this unwinds the carry trade. The yen strengthens, leverage short positions get nuked. US risk assets that are shorted via swap/carry mechanisms spike upward. And GameStop is one of the most sensitive stocks to this because of how it's been weaponized via swaps and short side derivatives. So in short, rising JPY equals shorts unwind equals GameStop spike. Why? How? Basic breakdown. Many of the GameStop short positions are not direct equity swaps, but synthetic exposure via swaps, which is why people say that the short interest is hidden. And other people say it's not, but they don't understand the swap action. Now, those swaps are often collateralized or funded via carry trade flows. When the JPY yields rise, these positions require more margin or unwind outright. Okay, read that again. Those swaps are often collateralized or funded via carry trade flows. So once this rises, it is going to put pressure on the position, not only because of the yield price, okay? GameStop short exposure via swaps becomes toxic to hold. Clearing firms and prime brokers start issuing margin calls or demand more collateral. This is what I mean by it's not just face value, the rate that you're seeing on the chart. It's the collateral that prime brokers require to put up for these toxic swaps that are being held, which can trigger forced buy-ins and forced covering. And if you say, well, this doesn't happen, this isn't the case, you don't understand GameStop. 1, Roaring Kitty hinted at it. 2, what did we see last May? We saw Japanese 10-year hit all-time highs right at the same exact time GameStop decided to squeeze higher, okay? Alongside that, you can go take a look again. We come into late May of 2025. I assume that we see the same thing. Late May of 2025, they hit all-time highs again, okay? It is simple. Once this gets out of hand, GameStop gets out of hand. Once GameStop gets out of hand, the ETF creation demand lags behind. This loophole is no longer a use case. Once that's no longer a use case, that triggers forced buy-ins, gamma squeezing, delta hedging unwind, which we will still have to, all this aside, fight the levels of conversion price for the convertible bond offerings, which I believe, 1, we're going to have to fight the 29 something level, so right under 30. I think we get above that. 2, the 38.81 level, which we have to fight, which I hope we get above, but we have a huge sell block ready up here. Same thing, $50, so on and so on and so on. We have major sell blocks. Now these will dissipate or disappear possibly once these get out of hand. Things in Japan get out of hand. But that is what I got for you guys for today's video. It's interesting to say the least. XRT also has had FTDs. We talked a little bit about the cycles just to show you a little bit of things that are happening. Massive FTDs. 35 days later, here's what you see. Okay? Big increase in price. And this is just for an ETF, okay? This isn't just any stock, right? Same thing. Massive FTDs. Big increase 35 days later. So if you look at these cycle periods from fails to deliver, June 12th, well, actually, these are all stacked now, okay? These are all stacked now. It is much worse than it was back here, much worse than it was back here. These are now stacked. So you see, you look at a 35-day window, well, nothing's happening with the price action. It's flat, which gives you an even higher, more aggressive trajectory come the date they have to cover. But that is it, guys. Make sure to join my Discord server. It's the top link in the description. If you didn't see yesterday's video, make sure to go watch that. It's important. Top link in the description for my Discord where we talk stocks and crypto in there all day long. Best vibes, best people. There are no bad questions. Come level yourself up in the best trading community, in my personal opinion. We also have tons of alerts in there, all that other good stuff. That is it, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I love you all. God bless. Lottery Stocks out.